My mic.
Hey.
What up?
What up, puppy dog?
Is that a recording okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That should be good.
Perfect. Okay, good.
Okie dokie. Ladies and gentlemen, you're such a bundle of joy. I have Stephen Daniels here in the socially distanced podcast studio, aka my living room. What a treat, Stephen. Good to have you.
Well, thanks for having me, and I like your living room.
Thank you. I've definitely updated it. The birch. You've seen the new
I've
wallpaper.
seen the birch wallpaper. I like the blue walls. I like the lights.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Trying to make it look profesh.
Yeah, it does.
So Stephen and I met each other at a comedy institution. I don't know why I'm stopping myself from saying my place of employment. And Stephen was taking improv classes with me. And
Exactly,
so we
yeah.
have gotten to know each other really well, and it has been a pure joy.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thank you. And we share a lot in common. One, absolutely loving Christmas. Two, being into comedy. And I guess three, both being gay.
Exactly. Yes. Ding, ding, ding. We're a winner.
Ding, ding, ding. So, Stephen, one thing I would love to kind of get into a little bit more today, because it's, I think, a very cool perspective you bring is kind of what brought you to improv.
Okay.
And a little bit of your story of like getting a cancer diagnosis and kind of some like the little bit I've heard, but the way you have approached like getting a cancer diagnosis,
Okay.
I think is one of the coolest stories I've heard.
Okay. All right.
So take us back.
All right. So, hi, everybody. It's Stephen. And
You may know him, by the way, from you're a little bit famous. You've been on, is it WGN or?
I've been on WGN, and yeah. I've been in some video shoots for some corporations.
No
yeah.
big deal.
Yeah, no big, yeah. Anyhow, I've yet to be discovered. But anyhow, so just so everybody is aware, at age 61 in 2017, I was diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer that metastasized to my spinal column. At age 62, I began 40 weeks of improv training here at a famous school here in Chicago. It wasn't the first school. It's the second. And at age 63, I began taking voice lessons.
Heck yeah.
So I had been in, the diagnosis came about is I had been in a lot of, I was going to a chiropractor, I was seeing an acupuncturist, I was having a lot of pain, particularly like in my ribs and my back, and everything just really, really hurt. And I'd had all kinds of tests, and finally my chiropractor sent me for some additional blood work, and sent me for another MRI to look at some stuff specifically. And on Easter weekend of 2017, I found out I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and it had moved to my spinal column in 2 areas, 1 and 2 and 13 and 14. So I was immediately put in the hospital overnight for observation, and they wanted to have a medical team look and see if they were concerned that my spine wasn't secure enough, that if I fell or tripped or just moved the wrong way, that my spine would collapse or I'd have some difficulty.
Because it was already
already there.
Compromised because of the cancer.
Exactly. So, but they found out that I could go home. I had to give up rollerblading, my downhill skiing career.
That is, I want to tell you, this is so funny. I saw someone rollerblading down the street. I've been waiting for you to get here, and I was like, wouldn't that be a hoot if Stephen rollerbladed and came here? And you are a serious rollerblader?
I have rollerblades. Yes, I bought them during the craze, and I do like rollerblading.
When you say the craze, like late 90s?
Late 90s, yeah. And
I had some too.
I have really good. I still have mine. I may sell them.
I mostly just spin in circles because of my left leg being shorter than my right leg.
Oh,
it's awful.
Yeah, I tend to lean. I tend to sort of lead from one leg versus the other. So, but I do like it. It's fun, but I can't really do that anymore because if I fell or something,
Sure.
there's concern. Anyhow, so that was on a Friday. I got out of the hospital on a Saturday, and Monday morning I remember waking up, and I sort of sat on the edge of the bed getting ready. I thought, well, I knew I had to get ready to go to work, and I just had this moment that I couldn't make it go away. It wasn't like you painted your walls the wrong color and you'd go get a new can of paint. It wasn't that you bought the wrong size of a pair of pants or whatever. I couldn't make it go away, and I just decided you can't change it. So this is just going to be an adventure. I had never had cancer before. I'd never been to Spain. So I was just going to look at it basically as this journey to see where this was going to go. And that's just kind of how I approached it. Radiation started soon thereafter. I went for, I think, 12 days in a row and got radiation on my spine. Then there was a break, and then I had 6 rounds of chemotherapy.
Wow.
And chemo was every 3 weeks, 6 rounds for every 3 weeks. So anyhow, and I made it through that. I wouldn't say it was necessarily the easiest thing, particularly after number 5. But along the way, the adventure unfolds. And
I feel like, where do you think that comes from, Stephen? That like early on, like, I don't know how many people could like get cancer and be like, I'm going to treat this like an adventure. Like,
if I kind of look back, I grew up on a farm, out in the middle of nowhere in rural Ohio. And I spent time at my grandparents' house. When you grow up on a farm, things happen that you can't control. A farmer can't control when it rains. A farmer can't control a lot of things. There's a lot of things that are, you plant one crop this year, it does really well. Next year, it doesn't do well at all, and things are out of control. And I've faced challenges before and got through them, and I think it just made me a better person. And the alternative was to look at it as gloom and doom, like, oh my God, I have cancer, I'm going to die, my life is over. And I found out as I went through treatment, and even still today, when I see my oncology team, it was people with a really good attitude that approach a challenge, particularly if you have really good attitude, if you remain positive and do positive things when you're diagnosed with cancer, those people have a much better rate of survival, and they do much better than the people who look at it kind of as
that's amazing.
as a negative.
Huh. So statistically, just like positivity.
Right. I've always been kind of the positive, sort of upbeat, funny, social guy or whatever. And I just couldn't see myself becoming, somebody else. I feel like I'm sweating.
That's amazing.
Oh, anyhow.
Sorry, it might be a little hot in here.
No, it's fine. I'm nervous. My first podcast.
It's only my second.
Of many.
So I'm sweating too.
Anyhow, no, you're doing fine. So, once that decision is made, it was really a wake-up call for me. Because up until that point, this might surprise some people when they hear this, but up until that point, I made decisions mostly based on how I thought other people would perceive them, or making other people like me or provide positive reinforcement. I made decisions that made other people happy.
You're a people pleaser?
Not necessarily me. And
Pause.
I decided
Are you a middle child?
I'm a middle child.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. So, and I come from a blended family, so there's 11 of us. So there's 5 older and 5 younger.
Holy shit.
And
all on a farm.
all on a farm, all in rural America. Anyhow, so I decided it was time to stop that because it's other people aren't going to be happy for you if you're not happy with yourself. And it was time to, I thought about this today, particularly when it comes to maybe my job, is that I've found my voice.
That's awesome. What a good feeling, huh?
And I learned how to, I'm learning how to express that voice.
Yeah.
So, when I was growing up, and if I'm talking too much,
No.
cut me off. When I was growing up as a little kid, I always watched every award show on television, and I always envisioned myself that I would be on stage or on TV or in the movies. And when you grow up on a farm, and I'm not saying that this is bad, but and it was a different time. Being creative wasn't practical, and people didn't really find it acceptable.
Interesting. Wasn't valued, but also not even acceptable to
exactly
be a creative person.
Yeah. So, my dad, having worked for a company for 30 some years, my dad and my stepmother did not want me to go to college. They thought that was a waste of time. You could get a good job in a factory or in a business here and have a really good career. And so, I went away to school. I went to Ohio State, and I could have pursued that there. There are famous people from Ohio State that are well known. Patricia Heaton is one of them.
You all know Patricia Heaton? I don't.
I do. She was Ray Romano's wife.
Oh, okay.
And she's also on.
All right, I'm tracking.
She played another mother on another show, with the 3 kids. I can't think of that show. Anyhow, yes, we actually worked in the same. We worked at the faculty club, which is a private restaurant club on campus, and we actually worked there at the same time. I do remember her from college.
Oh, okay.
Anyhow.
So when you were in college,
yes,
you still didn't kind of give yourself permission to do what you wanted to do?
Exactly. Because I picked an education. I was going to be an education major. I majored in special education of all things. And people really thought that was just the neatest. And that's really great that you're going to do that. And so I was looking for acceptance.
Yeah.
And
I've heard of this.
You have.
I'm looking for acceptance. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So, but I don't regret what I did. It took me 5 years to get through school. I had to pay my way through Ohio State. I didn't get any financial help from my parents at all. But I got through, I graduated, and that's something, once you kind of have that degree, nobody can ever take that away from you. Mm-hmm. And I still have amazing friends from those days.
That's awesome.
So anyhow, I decided, when you're 61 years old and you've got stage 4 cancer and you're going through radiation and chemotherapy or whatever, I had looked at maybe taking an acting class or whatever and just decided I'm going to sign up for an improv class at not the first place, the second one. And That's how it started. I've told people this, and people have noticed this, but the real Steven started to emerge.
That's awesome. I love that. That's so cool, Steven. So you started doing improv classes, and that's how we got to know each other. And then the other thing that you jumped on was music classes, right? Voice lessons.
Yes.
Yeah. Both things that you would have wanted to pursue earlier.
Yes.
And like you put on the back burner.
Yes. Because I didn't think they were practical or that people would find them acceptable to do when I'm reminded of not to backtrack.
I thought a song was coming for a second.
No. I did do warm-ups on the way here. Anyhow.
Which warm-ups did you do?
There's a hum one you can do. You breathe in really deeply. And then when you breathe out, you hum or ha. So you breathe in.
Okay.
And you go hum. It relaxes your vocal cords. It helps for public speaking as well as singing. Anyhow.
Wait a second. There's also what he's not telling you is his beauty regimen before he sat down.
Yes.
Would you want to give everyone your little secret?
Listen, I didn't want to have puffy eyes. Because, I thought I need to look my best. I wore a blue shirt because I have blue eyes. But I love this stuff. And it's from Garnier. And it's this little roller ball. I keep mine in the refrigerator.
Is it a cortisone? What is it?
It's got caffeine in it and stuff. And it helps reduce puffiness around your eyes.
Okay.
So you just, I keep it in the refrigerator because I think it's better if it's cold or chilled. But you just go like this. Sorry, I bumped the thing.
For those who are listening, he's applying it to his under eyes. Yes.
There we go. You just do that. It feels really refreshing. I don't know I think it works. No, it does work, but it's extreme. It does work. I shouldn't say that. Poor Garnier. Send me some. Anyhow, but it feels really good because it's cold. It just sort of rolls on. It just feels it's very refreshing.
So I just recently got an inhaler.
Oh.
Like for asthma?
Uh-huh.
Never had one.
Okay.
I had some like lung things going on, and I went to the doctor, and he's like, I think it's like an allergy thing or mold thing. Like I got tested for COVID, no COVID, blah, blah, blah. So I got this like oral steroid and this inhaler. And Matt just last night was like, Johnny, like if you ever have to take like pills like routinely when you're older, I'm gonna hide them from you or like make you use one of those lot boxes.
Okay.
Because he totally called me out for like wanting to use that inhaler just because it felt fun and special.
Yeah.
I came home from a bike ride like one of the first times I was using it, and I was just like the whole ride I was just like toot toot just like a whole bunch. And I came in, I'm like, I feel a little weird, a little dizzy, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's the inhaler. He's like, how many are you supposed to take? Like how many shots? And my doctor said 2, and I'd probably done like 9 or 10 by the time I came back. Not that I'm getting anything other than just the novelty of like how fun it was. And like, you saw kids with inhalers growing up and you're like, I want one.
Right. Yeah.
And so I'm living into that right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely need to be watched if something feels special. So maybe I'd get into that.
You can try this. It's available at Ulta or Sephora, or you can get it at your local CVS, Walgreens, whatever.
This podcast episode has not been sponsored by this company.
Yes. Garnier.
But we'll take your money if you want to send it.
Garnier. It's your product. Anyhow, and it's just a quick sort of, even if you're not concerned about puff, it's just sort of a quick refresher. I also had
if you just want to feel refreshed, just rub it around your eyes.
I also have that stuff you spray on your face, those misty things or whatever.
Wait, what is this? Oh, don't just say I spray a misty thing on my face and leave it behind.
I don't know. I should have brought that with me. I have some that's lavender, and you can spray it on your pillows and your sheets where you go to bed. But there's some that it's like cucumber or whatever, and it's just a quick refresher. You just sort of mist it on your face, and I kept it at work, and if I was feeling a little down in the afternoon or stressed out, I've just taken out and just...
I love little treats like that.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't have to feel guilty.
No.
That's how I feel about beard oil.
Okay.
Like since growing a beard, I realized that like, oh, people like do
Yeah.
like
Oh, yes.
conditioners and oils, and like now I always feel like a little bit special, like when I like go dab some beard oil on my face and like feels like a little fancy.
I'm familiar with beard oil because Antonio uses it. So
Oh, okay.
We sometimes, if we're shopping together, we look for beard oil. There's a really good brand.
And Antonio is your
Partner,
handsome
yes.
partner.
Husband, yes. And we found a really good one. Here's another plug. We found another. There's a really good brand at Target. I don't know where you get yours.
Sometimes Target.
Yeah,
sometimes
it's
Target.
really good. But he's. Anyhow,
Beauty regimen.
Beauty regimen. Yes, beard oil, Garnier.
So you
Okay.
so you stepped into like doing voice lessons
Yes.
and did some performances already, right?
Yes. So
Are they recitals?
we do recitals. So at the end of each session, I've completed 3 semesters. The third one ended. I mean, we had to take virtual lessons because of COVID. It started out in person, and then it went to virtual. But yeah, for the first 2, there's a recital, and you have to get up and sing. And my first one, I told a really emotional story, so I really brought the crowd in. The crowd was with me. I didn't sing as well, but it was like I got a standing ovation. People were crying.
You worked it ahead of time.
I knew how to work it. And then,
you got people crying, huh?
well, this is a fascinating story. So when you start voice lessons, and I go to Lyric on Irving Park Road, when you go to voice, my instructor is Christopher Hatcher. You fill out this sheet. He has a little questionnaire, and you fill it out. And what would you like to sing and all that? Well, I put all these modern songs I'd like to sing or whatever. And I remember our first meeting, he just looks at it and goes through the list and just shook his head and said, no. Anyhow.
What were some of the songs on this list?
Oh, I wanted to sing something by Justin Timberlake or Katy Perry or, just something. Yeah. Anyhow. So he said, I'll pick something out. He goes, I'll just get you some sheet music and we'll start. So I told this story that I said Christopher didn't know this when he picked out the music, and he shows up with music and said, we're going to work on this song. And the song was Amazing Grace. And I told the audience that I had cancer for 2 years and that Christopher didn't know it. But since my diagnosis of cancer, that I had experienced Amazing Grace this whole time.
Oh.
And that it was sort of meant to be. Christopher didn't know that, but so then I sang Amazing Grace. And people cried and stood up, standing ovation.
You almost got me right now.
Yeah, okay. Anyhow, so it
is an interesting perspective to hear, because you hear a lot of people say that who, have a little bit of a brush with like a terminal illness or a close call, something that threatens your life, where it's like, it pushes you and it refines you, and it like, if you can, look at it the right way, it can actually be, something that you make into a good situation.
Right.
Which is pretty cool.
Right.
I mean, I think about that all the time too, with like, just like people ask me, like, I came out late in life and like, oh, like, don't you miss, like, feel bad about like, I need to be in the closet or whatever. And it's like, no, like all of that stuff like led me to where I am, has given me like a deeper insight as a person. And like, if I had to redo it again, I'd be like, rats, I have to figure out how to like learn these lessons without this thing.
Right.
And so it's so hard to like look at things as purely bad. It's like, it's all usable.
It is.
Yep.
You're going to find this shocking, But I didn't have conversations with some of my family members about being gay until I was 60.
I believe it. Yeah.
And
I believe it just because I know how hard it was, for me to come out and like, even like being in a younger generation, that it's more acceptable than the generation you came up in.
right, exactly.
Like trying to be authentic and true to who you are and, reconcile that. It's hard. It's hard. Right?
It is.
Like the people, like, especially like where you grew up and like how, like your formative years, like how people around you, felt about gay people, like will influence you the rest of your life. Right.
Exactly.
Like it's still like, there's still little moments, like I'll go back to West Michigan and I'll be like, a little bit of your radar goes back up again of like, oh, whoa. Like it's easy to feel some of those emotions again of like,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever it is, like
and
guilt or shame that maybe it kept you in the closet, or just the fear of being accepted, or blah, blah, blah.
People were going to judge you.
Yep.
And, Stonewall happened in 1969. I graduated from high school in 74 and went to college. I was in a fraternity, the center of masculinity on campus.
And you're speaking about yourself, right?
Yes,
Not the fraternity.
Yeah.
There goes the center of masculinity.
Yeah.
Stephen Daniels.
Yeah. Anyhow, very different. And it's when you talk to younger people, even younger than you, their perspective on it's so much more acceptable now. And I've got nieces and nephews that were in high school, and they knew they had gay classmates and all that kind of.
It's pretty cool to see. It still takes, I think, no matter what age you're at, it takes a little bit of risk to be authentic and honest, especially when you're going against the grain, right? But it's been very cool, like also teaching kids, and they're just like very comfortable with who they are already at like 14 or it's like that's good for you and good for like good that you've got that support around you,
right? Well, it was really funny because most of them, you told them, I said, I just want to let you know. And they're like, well, yeah, we kind of already knew that. And
you weren't surprising them.
I didn't really surprise.
Whenever you're ready to come out, right?
They weren't. It was funny because they thought that I had certain people that I was friends with. They thought I must have been dating that person. I'm like, oh no, that didn't happen. And that was pretty funny. We were in an improv. We formed people that I went through the class with. We formed an improv troupe and we performed, and it was a great learning experience. I think the most valuable lesson from improv is learning how to listen, the need to listen and to listen well. Mm-hmm. Because you can't be good at it if you're not. Your partner is giving you something or your team is giving you something on stage. If you're not listening and you just start talking, or you're trying to think of the next funny thing to say or whatever, it just doesn't work.
And it's very counterintuitive for people who are like, especially people who have, are inclined to be comedians, to come in and be like, oh, my job is not to quick think up a joke, but just to be really invested in what my partner's doing.
Right.
And like make that important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of good came out of that. And I'm now using that. We created a sort of an improv class at work. We did it 2 or 3 times. It was just an hour-long thing.
And this is, you work in the business world?
Yes, I work for one of the top 4 accounting firms in the world, and I'm on the talent learning team. And so I've developed some content around that to how you can apply certain improv skills to your everyday business life and how you
That's very cool.
how not only do you speak and listen, but even using improv on your writing skills. Mm-hmm. So
Very cool.
it's very cool. It's very fun.
And are you teaching those now a couple times online, right? You taught some?
Yeah. So in July, I'm on a team at work called I'm on the leadership team at work, and it's called EY Presents, and it's our sort of our own version of Toastmasters, and it's how to tell your story and be good public speakers. So we've incorporated, we've done live sessions where we had an actual class with people before COVID and taught improv. And now we're looking at, we take some improv things that are easily transferable to the virtual. And so, yeah, we've done a couple. We did one, if you use Zoom, you can put people in breakouts. So we did yes and. Mm-hmm. So it was yes, no. We started out, they had to do yes, no, yes, but, and then yes and. And we had 3 different, and then they had to come back and tell us how that experience was or whatever. And it opens up, a lot of people said it opened up that sometimes when people come up with an idea, their first thing they want to do is to shut it down. Say, no, that's not going to work, or but, and offer their suggestion. And just acknowledging something in a yes and environment, or acknowledging something doesn't mean that you agree with it. Is that you're listening and you're hearing what that person's saying. And that expression or what they're saying could have validity. It could have an impact, and don't shut it down. Be open to that and listen to that and acknowledge that. So
I love that you're just like, not only am I going to start taking classes, I'm going to turn around and share it with my coworkers.
That's right. That's right.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
I
do have an education degree from Ohio
Yes, that's
State.
right.
So, I ought to put it to use. So
Yeah,
that's what I'm
that's
doing. I'm
right.
teaching. Yes.
So we already hit on this, but we said we both have a wild love for Christmas.
Okay.
And he's not drinking out of it at the moment, but I did give Steven a Santa Claus cup full of coffee. Don't feel pressured to drink out of it just because I mentioned it. But I wanted to talk to you because he's very excited about his cup. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Christmas this year because I feel like you and I both have, as probably does everyone, especially in the colder climates, has this like apprehension of like winter's coming.
Yes.
And like we have to keep our head above water.
Yes.
And I feel like as 2 people who love Christmas a little too much, I think we just need to extend it
Yes.
further into the winter.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you're aware of it, but if you walked on my evening walks, I'm not sure if you're aware, but this started to cheer people up. People put up Christmas lights. You would see them in the neighborhood. I would ride around and you'd see people had
Really?
decorated. Yeah.
Currently?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Not so much now. When it first started and people were kind of at home and it was
okay.
like in March and April or whatever, you still see some. Not as many, but yeah, people dug
Just
out their
the lights.
People dug out their Christmas lights and put them up on their porch. Or
That's what I'm talking about right
so
there.
yeah. No, I met with my therapist a couple weeks ago as part of my oncology team, and she told me, she said, I'm giving this advice to everybody, all my patients. Embrace summer, the sunshine, the warm temperatures, the autumn, the colors, whatever. Enjoy it as much as you can. Embrace it. Participate in it. Get out. Get outside as much as you can. Even enjoy the rain. Because she said winter's coming.
Yeah.
And it'll be colder. The days will be shorter. COVID is probably not going away.
Yep.
Until there's a vaccine, and flu season will arrive. and she said that we need to prepare ourselves mentally and spiritually and physically to get ready for that, because it may be a challenging winter.
Yeah. And we'll find ways.
We'll
find ways to get through.
Yeah. But
we'll throw Christmas parties and have people hang outside and look through the
Yes.
window. And
you know what? You can go Christmas caroling. That's
There we
outdoors,
go.
and you can carol through a mask.
carol 6 feet apart.
We can do that. Yes.
I'm in.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because some of my friends, I have a huge, well, I should say this. I'm popular, so I get invited to a lot of holiday parties. And we've already had that discussion, started to have those discussions, if we're going to have Christmas parties
Yeah.
or not. Open houses and
Yeah. Maybe some backyard bonfire parties. I think that's what we want to do here.
yeah, something that's going to be different.
Because you still have to. I like this word that you just said, because it's also like a word that's been a theme for me this year, and I purposely tried to make it a theme, is the idea of participation, of like participate, and I think there's a lot of things that will not feel ideal, whether it's teaching something online or meeting online or like having to change the way you do a party, but we still need to participate in those things.
Exactly.
I really do think that like we can't put everything on hold and be like, I'm going to wait until the storm clears. We have to keep finding a way to participate, even if it's not the ideal way we want to be doing things.
Exactly. Something that comes to mind, and part of my cancer adventure, is Northwestern Hospital selected me in 2019 as one of the faces of cancer for the Cancer Survivors 5K and walk. It's a huge event.
He's on banners.
It's held, yes.
Did you get to keep any of these banners?
I had the banner. Yes, I
Okay,
should have
great.
We could have put it up
We
here,
should
covered
have.
the birch.
What were we thinking?
My next podcast. Perhaps you'll have me back. Anyhow, and you had to come up with a quote that went on your banner. And while they were interviewing me, they said, I think we have your quote. And it applies to what's coming with winter is, my quote was, you can't stop living just because you have cancer, or don't stop living just because you have cancer.
Yep.
The same applies with don't stop living because we're facing a tough winter, or
Yep.
so.
That's good to hear. It's good for people to hear, because
Yeah.
we there's like, I feel like there's so many reasons I have in my life just chosen not to participate when I've not even had a good excuse. And so going into this year, like that was one of my goals, is just participation. This is before the pandemic hit.
Right.
And it's like, I already struggle. I'm definitely this sort of person who's like more of a homebody, and like people ask me to do things and I'm very inclined to be like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
But like, man, now there's like this extra push of like,
Right.
I, in spite of maybe some like personal inclination to like sit back and not always participate, now there's a pandemic on top of it.
Right.
And like pushing through is incredibly important.
I go for walks in the evening every night.
Yep.
I always try to go for a walk, and I try to take photos and post about things that I discover on my walks. And there are some nights when I'm like, you know what? I think I'm just take a shower and just go to bed. And I'm like, you know what? No, you need to get out and or go ride my bike. And it's funny. Some nights I'll go out and start walking, and I'm thinking, well, I'll just make it a short walk or whatever. And then I'll end up like walking for like an hour and a half, or riding my bike. And I just keep going because I'm like, okay, this is really kind of fun. I'm glad I'm out here. And
Honestly, being outside is like my saving grace right now.
yes.
I also discovered that in this winter when I like started walking to work. Like I was like, man, like I have to still get more outdoor time, even though it's cold. And just last week I was camping in Michigan, pure Michigan.
Yes.
The UP.
Yes.
It was
beautiful.
awesome. It was beautiful. It's there all the time, everyone. We can just go up and see a place. It's crazy. It's like we get stuck in this like city kind of life, and like you feel trapped in your apartment, and it's like, man, the rest of the world is outside. And like, honestly, it does so much for me mentally to like spend more time outside.
Exactly.
Whether it's even just our backyard here, you know, and having rats running around us, which Steven loves.
Oh, I do. They're my favorite.
I'm also very jumpy now because there's so many there's so many rats that I'm like a little jumpy just about everything, like a shadow.
Yeah.
I had a camping. I had a little bit of a run-in last week where so I went with my buddy Dave.
Right. Okay.
And we were like doing like some bike touring, and like we just camped at one location each night and just biked from there.
Okay.
And I hear on the side of my tent, I hear like a scratching sound. And I'm like, I'm in the Upper Peninsula. This is bear country.
Right.
And immediately my mind goes, there's a bear rubbing the outside of like your tent. And I like turn my flashlight on, and I'm just like, all the hairs are standing over my arm, and like I'm like, this is for sure a bear. Like, do I try to like run? Do I try to like what do I do? It would be a black bear. It was a mouse, and I was still scared enough of this mouse that I decided to go sleep in the car. Because I was afraid it was gonna burrow through the tent and like get into my tent. I'm just a little jumpy with rats and mice. Oh, and birds.
Yeah. Oh, you don't like birds?
Oh, I'm very scared of birds.
Oh.
I have a bird phobia.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, it's a real thing.
Okay, that's another podcast.
There's a genesis story of why this is the case,
Okay.
and we can save it for another podcast if we want. Okay, next time we'll come and talk about our fears.
Yes, we'll get together, a group of people, and each person talk about their phobia. Yes.
We'll do it as like a Halloween episode.
Yeah.
So a teaser.
Yeah.
Whenever that episode comes out,
Yeah.
I'll reveal why I'm terrified of birds.
With Christmas coming, and I have lots of Christmas stuff.
Now, when he says lots of Christmas stuff, what he means is he has extra storage.
Yes.
Entire like storage units full of Christmas stuff.
I have 2 of them.
What size are both of them?
And they're both 10 by 10.
It is just Christmas stuff?
It's just mostly Christmas. Yeah. Or Christmas. I also like...
And how big is your apartment, Stephen?
Not very. I live in a loft.
So there's no way you could ever use all of it?
Oh, no, God, no. No. I have all these aluminum trees and yeah. I also like Thanksgiving, as you know. I brought plates over. We had Thanksgiving dinner.
Right.
I set the table, but I've been thinking about this a lot. Like I have all that stuff, and what could I do with it this year? And I'm just wondering if what's sad is you see a lot of empty storefronts or places have gone out of business. And I think Laugh Out Loud on Lincoln.
Oh, did they close the doors?
They closed their doors.
Oh, that's too bad.
So they only have the Schaumburg one. But I'm just wondering if I should, or if I could, contact the owners of those buildings or whatever, and we put up some kind of display. So when people are out for a walk in the winter, they would find this
Look at you.
pretty tree in the window or whatever.
You're just going to spread Christmas cheer all over the city.
Well, I do think we're going to need it. And I think it'd be a nice little surprise to,
yeah,
to kind of walk down the street and, find
honestly, when Christmas decorations go out, I'm like the most excited person in the city. I don't know what it is. I've also discovered this too about myself, that it's actually the whole time that's leading up to Christmas that is part of the magic for me. Like Christmas Day, I'm actually like a little bit like somber. I'm like, oh, it's ending. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like the whole season leading up to it is the best. 3 or 4 years ago, I fulfilled a bucket list dream, and It was the first year my husband, Matt, and I were dating. I took him and myself for the first time to the Chris Kindle markets in Germany.
Oh, wow.
It was the most amazing Christmas experience. We started out in Salzburg, insanely beautiful. And then we went up to Nuremberg and then a small little town called Bamberg, which is our personal favorite. And it's literally the best way to do Christmas. Yeah. I was already looking at plane tickets this year and I was like, man, what if we just get out of town for Christmas week and do a German Christmas?
Well, I belong to a international Christmas collecting group. There's people are in it from around the world. We have an annual convention.
What is it called?
It's called the Golden Glow of Christmas Past.
Yes.
I'm often a featured speaker. I've served on the board of directors. And there's some people in our group that actually run tours to Germany in December. And one of these days I'm going to, and I have a really good friend of mine lives in Nuremberg. So one of these days
we're going to go together.
We're going to go.
Yeah. How many people do you think we've lost right now on this podcast because so many people hate Christmas?
None.
Good.
No, I don't think.
Well, I feel like Christmas gets a bad pushback, and people are always like, it's too early. Like we celebrate it too early. Are they mad at Christmas or are they mad that winter's coming? That's my question. I'm singing Christmas songs all year long.
Yes.
And listening to Mannheim Steamroller.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I don't understand this perspective.
Well, I think a couple things.
Also, we're taking this very seriously.
It's a couple things. Christmas also comes at the end of the year. So you're thinking about, and Christmas is a highly emotionally charged holiday. People have expectations about the gift maybe they're going to get.
Oh, yeah.
My family's going to come over and we're going to sit down and carve a turkey and everybody's going to get along.
Not everybody's okay with their families, right?
And there's some,
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
It's too bad.
That could be. I do think that we start, as much as I like Christmas, I do think the selling of Christmas merchandise starts way too early.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like Halloween candy is currently on sale at Jewel.
Is it really?
Uh-huh, yeah.
Wow, today it's August 16th.
Yeah.
For that.
But it's been out for a while. And
2020, we're still in the pandemic. If you're listening years later, and it's been the zombie apocalypse since then.
And I want you to know, in case you need some, that pumpkin spice Cheerios are now available.
Get out. I'm not into it.
At your local grocery store.
Not into pumpkin spice. Are you a pumpkin spicer?
No. And I used to get the pumpkin spice latte from the coffee shop. But
yeah, the coffee shop.
The
one coffee shop that makes those.
I don't know why. Yeah.
You don't know why you don't like it? It's because it's gross, Steven.
It's too
overspiced.
Sugary.
It's super sweet.
Yeah.
It's like, here's my thing is I would have like a small sip, maybe like once a year. But I also feel the same way about pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie is really good to have one slice a year.
It's perfect at Thanksgiving. Yes.
Yeah.
Have some.
It's great. But I don't want pumpkin pie in the middle of the summer.
No, that's blueberry pie.
I don't want pumpkin pie. Oh my gosh, I love blueberry pie. I made my first blueberry pie the other day, everyone.
Oh, delicious.
From hand-picked blueberries from pure Michigan. Blueberry picking is honestly one of my favorite things to do.
Wow.
One of my favorite summer things to do.
And blueberries are so good for you.
I didn't know that, but that's great.
Oh, they're
I would eat them regardless. I mean, I assume they are because they're a fruit.
Yeah. They're loaded with antioxidants. So, and vitamins and all that. Yeah. No, I love blueberries.
Love blueberry pie. In fact, I would normally go for, growing up, instead of a birthday cake, I would ask for a blueberry pie for my birthday.
My favorite pie is pecan pie.
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
I like pecan pie too. I really didn't have it till the first time till a couple years ago.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's really good. And pecans are loaded with protein. They're good. Yeah.
You should eat more. We should eat more often.
It's a healthy pie.
I just made my first savory pie. Now that we're talking about pies, I just made my first savory pie, I think 2 nights ago. We have all these tomatoes ripening up in our garden.
Okay.
It's amazing. And I had an extra pie crust from when I made blueberry pie.
Okay.
I cheaped out and I didn't make my own blueberry pie. I bought the crust, I should say. I bought the crust. But you can make tomato pie. And you put like onions in it, tomato.
Oh my God, that sounds
They call
good.
for just it's like a mayonnaise and cheese mix on top. But I also added chicken to it. It was incredible. It was like a little bit a little bit of a sweet crust.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty stinking good.
Using store-bought pie crust, there's nothing wrong with that.
Thank you. Thank you for enabling me.
I like the whole wheat ones. There's whole wheat pie crust, and I love
okay.
those. That's usually what I use. If I make quiche or a pie, I usually use the whole wheat crust. My grandmother would kill me because she always made, her own pie dough and rolled them out, and I knew how to crimp and all that kind of stuff. So,
I think there's certain things that you're just allowed to pass on. It seems like pie dough seems like it should be one of them.
Yeah,
Pie dough and phyllo dough, right?
Yeah. My big thing, I had one the other day. Somebody gave my friend Miley and I. We had a peach.
You had a peach?
She had a peach, and so I sometimes meet her for lunch. And so that was our dessert was this peach.
You guys split a peach?
We split a peach.
I love that it's like such a big deal.
Yeah.
We had a peach.
But and this has happened to me a couple of times. And it happened to me that day when we had the peach. When I smell peaches, I'm back in the kitchen with my grandmother.
Oh.
Because I used to help her in the summer. I would stay there and I would help her can and freeze peaches. We'd ride to this.
What a good grandson.
We'd go to, my grandfather would drive and we'd go to this peach orchard. There were orchards near there. And she would get Red Havens and different kinds of peaches. And then, she'd make peach pie. And when I smell peaches, I remember a couple years ago, I was traveling somewhere and stopped, and there was a farmer's market, and I smelled peaches, and I was instantly in her kitchen.
Yeah.
So
they
peaches,
say that smell, right? Is like
peaches,
you immediately
yes,
get transported with
well,
smell.
your sense of smell is most linked to memory.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Oh man,
anyhow.
what do I smell that transmits me? Oh man, I'm gonna be a real cliche here, and it's pine needles.
Really?
Christmas trees. Yeah. Yeah, instantly, as soon as you smell them. When we were camping, I was underneath a pine tree, and it's just smells like Christmas.
Yeah, a pine tree with a mouse. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stop talking about Christmas.
Yeah.
Steven, this has been a treat.
This has been such a treat. This has been fun. I thought it would be more nervous. My sweating stopped, and we covered a wide range of topics.
We covered such a wide range. We have spoilers for we're teasers for our next one.
Yes.
Bird stories. I want to talk to you about the opera.
Okay, excellent.
Stephen loves the opera. I have a little bit of a confession about how I feel about the opera. Next time.
Don't tell me it's a phobia. Don't tell me you have an opera phobia.
Oh, we'll save it for next time. What a treat, Stephen.
This has been fun. I
love you.
it.
You're such a delight.
Well, thank you. I love you too.
You're wonderful. Thanks for being here.
Glad we met. See, one of the blessings of having cancer, meeting you. What part of you're part of the adventure.
Look at that.
So
glass is always half full. I love it.
There you go.
You're amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Bye, everybody.
Dance appetite, dance in the middle of the night. Come on, dance appetite, dance in the middle of the night. Come on, dance, wake up the appetite.